So I made my setup decisions here in Nevsky, campaign scenario, whatever. Um, I took carts for everyone. That's basically the decision that the only decision that had to be made before play. The reason, well, over here at Gavrilo, I could head up by boat here, but I can't get anywhere other than Dorpet with boats that I'd want to attack. I mean, I guess I could get up there and fight the Danish leaders, and that might be useful, but I feel like I have to contest things here. And this guy, well, he can't use boats. This is only ships are able to cope with this. Knut and Abel are already assigned ships. Nothing can be done about that. In fact, they don't have enough ships, right? They have two that'll carry their 2 horsemen, but they also have 2 Providence, which they have to carry. So they're going to need more boats, or more ships, sorry. Over here, boats don't really help him. I guess I could get up to Dorpat with boats, but what I'm looking at is trying to combine somewhere here, probably down here, using land movement. So carts make more sense. And, you know, again, Dorpat could come down and sail down and actually reach Pskov, which looks like sort of my goal. That's what I saw with that first scenario, but I'm going to play similarly to how I played it solo. I liked how that it was turning out, but I learned a few things that I want to take into account too. Plus, I am indeed going to play with a more detailed vassal service markers, because I do think they add something to the game in terms of how long you can be in the field with a big army. So they prevent the deep incursions that I think you would see otherwise. The next thing to happen is really the levy phase, and at this point each player is going to get 2 Arts of War cards. I'll just draw them. I think the Teutons go first. I got Warrior Monks, 1 Knight's Armor, and each archery. May reroll 1 Knight's Armor in each archery and each melee step. That's pretty potent. And then Ordensbergen, Teutonic Lords use commanderies as extra seats and start their command +1. Okay, this is a general capability, which is just going to be applied to everything where commanderies are in play. And then the Warrior Monks, I have to make a decision. This lord may reroll 1 Knight's Armor in each archery and each melee step. Well, I don't actually have any archers. The real question is whether I want Knut and Abel to have stronger forces, or Herman. I'm going to give the Warrior Monks over to Knut and Abel, because I'm stronger there, actually. Although my command isn't as good. And we'll go over and draw 2 over here. House of Suzdal. Preeminent dynasty. This lord, any lord, command +1, while Alexander and Andre are on the map. This is fucking useless. Alexander and Andre are not available until the way over here. I guess that's what this is about. I'll just give it to someone. I'm going to want to get rid of that. Raiders. This lord with light or Asiatic horse may ravage adjacent locales with no enemy lords, but take no loot. You know, I'm going to swap these and give this to Gavrilo, because I may want this over here. No, I think, these may limit who can get them, because I see an any here. Let me see. Okay, so indeed, this is limited to only the 2 lords who have that. So this becomes a discard. Now, those don't really get reshuffled. That gets put back in, so I lose that. And then over here, this one also is unavailable to any of the lords that are currently in play, so it'll be a discard. All right. I'm hoping I didn't screw that up in my solo game. I may well have. I didn't get any of those, but there may be others that are limited. Alright, so for the Levy stage, we shuffled, we drew capabilities. We do not draw events because this is the first turn. And now we have the option to pay leaders. Now, currently, Yaroslav is not with anyone. He's kind of the only one in any danger right now, so I'm not going to worry about it yet. Nobody has to disband. And now we're at muster, and the Teutons have to muster first. And we have 3 lords we can muster. And so this is technically not available right now because this came up in the Levy phase. I couldn't assign that as a capability, which doesn't matter because I would have been able to assign it if I could have assigned it. So I have to choose my leaders that I want to muster. Knut and Abel are my first. Like I said, I need 2 boats to do anything with him. He has a leadership of 2, so I'm going to up his ship value, ships, up to 4, so I can actually perform an invasion with everything I have. That gives me 1 more. Now, if I had anything that didn't have horses, I could conceivably muster. This is where you kind of have to start thinking about the game, and this is one of the problems that I had when I first played it, and now I'm stuck with that same problem. So for example, if I want to go take Luga, is it mine right away? Is it friendly territory right away? Well, can it be friendly territory? I think it can, but I'm not sure, and that's the kind of thing I have to look up, because if it can, I can transfer over and then muster there. Not in one action, because sail requires all your points. But if it's not, then I have the problem of, okay, well, then I need to get another boat to carry another horse, and you just end up with this balancing act in your head, very much like the crap that I have to do over in Vietnam. I think that Luga can be converted into friendly territory, though, but I'm not positive. Fortunately, the rules chain you around a little bit, and I still don't have an answer. So territory, fine. I understand that this is territory. Is it friendly? Muster, paper, and a few others require friendly locales. A locale is either friendly or not friendly. It's friendly if it's in that side's territory. It won't be. Or is a conquered stronghold? Well, I don't know if this is a stronghold. I can look here and see if stronghold is in their locale 131. So I go back here. Novgorod, cities, bishoprics, and forts. It is not a stronghold, which means I will not be able to levy there. I will not be able to bring in more forces there. That's a problem. What does that mean? Well, it means that my first command, I can do more things with this to bring, more ships into play or whatever, so that I can hold more forces, or I can go with a lesser force. I don't know which to do. And remember, there's an option where you use screens, and I'm kind of going to have that in mind. I'm going to play as though I'm using the screens, even though I'm not going to use them, to hide the information from players. By the way, the game states that it's got no real impediments to solitaire play, and the screens, obviously, they're an optional rule. You don't need them, so they're not an impediment. What is an impediment to me, though, is programming that command deck. That's a pretty damn big deal. In fact, that is the one thing in Angola that prevents it from being easily played solo. How much does it affect this? Less, because this is a 2-player game. With Angola, knowing whether an opponent is activating something on your front is kind of important. But still, I find pre-programming to be more of a problem than most other things like hidden forces. The screens don't present any issue for me. essentially. Okay, so I've used 2 of Canute and Abel's to get the ships. I don't know what to do with that third. Crap. Yeah, actually, I can't even produce more forces, can I? Until the Levy phase. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I will look for a capability and go with what I've got. I'm going to change things up a little bit. Instead of 4 ships, I'm only going to take 3. So that's one of my actions, is to build a ship. My second action is to take this cogs capability. So now I can carry 6. And then I am going to activate Dietrich von Kievel, who will go 2 turns in advance, and I will put them kind of under this, and he gets a man-at-arms and a knight additional. So now it's going to cost, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ships. I can increase capabilities if I recall correctly. I'm not finding that now. I thought I could grab some shit. But I'm not seeing it in the actions that are here. So I'm going to look again, but I think you've got to have everything pre-planned, actually. Maybe. I don't know. The problem with this plan is I'm going to eat 2 Preventer on the first turn. The other problem is, because I've got 7 forces there, the other problem with this is I can't go inland because I have no capacity to transport things. And I'm just trying to see. I don't think there's anything that allows me to gain gain whatever the fuck these are, assets. I don't see anything that seems to say that you can. I thought you could gain assets, but I may not have needed it the way I had things set up before. So I'm really not sure. Anyway, I'm going to go with this because I made this decision. Now, the decision for some of these others, well, Yaroslav doesn't have much going for him. And that's kind of a problem. He has 1 cart which can carry his Provender. I could move more slowly with that 1 cart if I wanted to bring this crap with me, which qualifies as what? Militia. Which isn't terribly good. But it would give me more forces. I would still be under the 7, so I'd be okay with that. But it would cost me to move. I have a command of 2, so I can move 1 space. Geez, I think I need to think about Herman before I can think about Yaroslav, because I want to combine them and launch an attack together using the martial capability. So, thinking about Herman. Herman has 3. His current capability, 4 of these, I can certainly add someone. That would give me the need. I probably want more Provender. I could add a cart, go up to 2 carts, if I really wanted to, but I don't know that I need to. I can forage on the way. But I could add some capabilities. In particular, I can add the capability of the Papal Legate, which I think I want in this. I didn't take him last time, and I kind of was sad about that. So let's see what I do. For my other leaders, Herman took one of his knightly fellas here and got some additional forces. I also took the Ballistrae, which give me men-at-arms have archery, with a -2 to the target's armor. Now, that gives them these half-point crossbowmen. But that -2 to the armor is really awesome, because if you're using armor as a defense, which is generally the most effective, you take that down a little bit. Yaroslav took his militia, which means he's fine. He doesn't have much provender, but that's okay. He can still march. He doesn't need to put the horses on that. You only have to put the horses on ships, I think. I'm not sure. Shit. I don't think you need them with boats. I think boats is just, yeah, this... Trying to remember everything is really hard, because, again, it's a very, very different system from anything else you're looking at. So let us take a look at what the provender and loot. Lords with most is twice as a transport, which is usable, must discard, and I don't know where you find this. Perhaps under movement. And you know, it's funny because I did this before, but I apparently fucked it up before. Or at least fucked up some things, which means I don't trust anything I'm doing. So yeah, I was under march. Transport, it helps determine whether a large or how much provender. It doesn't say anything about the ways. This is pissing me off. Now I'm at 1.7, so I go look there, and a usable transport. Each transport is only boats, and ships are usable. So I don't know where the boats talked, where the ships talked about this special kind of movement. Is that under sail? It might be. Yeah, sail is the only place where that's handled. Okay, good enough. So I've made my choices here for starters now. I go over here and I do the mustering here. After I do that, I get to do the special musters off of those. And I'm gonna take a break because I'm fatigued already. For the rush side, Gavrilo is gonna want his buddy with him. This leader, yeah, this leader is not available. But somebody should be. Somebody's available. Oh, that's him. Somebody should be available. I thought that hand was available already. Shit. Got things fucked up. Because I got this over here. No, that's not him. I'm sorry. What am I seeing? The hand is actually him. I thought I could summon... I screwed things up. So this guy's available over in Novgorod. Wow, that changes things. And I did not realize that. I thought Nomash was over in Polotsk, but apparently Polotsk gets handed to, not surprisingly, the Prince of Polotsk, who's in exile. Or, I'm sorry, Pskov. I don't know where Polotsk is. So, yeah, I may not be mustering that extra leader there. I've got basically one other leader I can bring into play, and I don't know who's going to do the muster. What I think I'm going to do with Vladislav, I'm going to do him first, and I'm going to use one of his only 2 lordship values to try to muster Domash. I'm having a real hard time deciding who to do where. It doesn't really matter which one I choose, except that I use one of their lordships. So I'll put some more thought to it, but I need a 4 or less to bring him in. Now, he won't get to do any Levy actions this turn, but that's okay. And I get a 3, so he's brought in. So I will bring his card down and fill it out. The other card, so Gavrilo took his vassal, Streltsy, and I think, the role which brought Domash into play. Vladislav took the Black Sea trade, which is going to get me a coin each call to arms, which is coming up very shortly. That'll help keep my leaders in alignment. I could take Baltic trade, but Baltic trade's more dangerous. I have to have naval supremacy there, and with the Danes in the game and their big ship power, I do not have that, so that's not an option. It brings in 2 per on non-winter call to arms. And this is essentially as effective, but whatever. Okay. And then, let's see, the other thing I did with Vladislav was also took Streltsy. The reason I really like the way these suckers work with the men-at-arms, and they really improve the firepower in combat. And you can see I have the equivalent here with the Ballistrae. That will put us to the call to arms phase, and we open up by giving a coin over here, which will be useful. And the Papal Legate, actually he should be going first, I think, but here's why he's cool. He arrives and I can put him in any bishopric. Okay. Obviously I can put him up here, but that's not a useful bishopric. The useful ones are the ones which have one of the lords that's in play right now. And the lords that are in play are him, him, and him. Now, obviously, this would be a useful place, but that's not a bishopric, so that's not very useful. Which means I could put him up here, and I could get this kind of crappy leader, but this guy's a marshal now. There are problems with that, because that would downgrade Herman. But that's sort of the most attractive now. The problem with starting him here is he would have to take boats to get forward, and that causes some definite issues. It's like this horrible balancing act of stuff. Up at Revel, that's a bishopric, and then he could help give command points, but I'm not really impressed with that. We can look at what his capabilities are, but I'm able to muster for free. So let me see about my 2 potential musters, because this guy might be interesting. All 3 of these have the capacity to be built up at the commanderies, which is positive, but only 2 are bishoprics. Which means I have to look for what the best path is, and I think the best path is actually from here going to here, and then I could marshal and get actually 3 leaders together if I get things done right. So I am going to go, let's see what these guys have. He comes with 2 transports. He comes with ships, which would be very useful towards operating with him. And that's another possibility, is to get 2 different leaders sailing up there. And Rudolph is probably the least interesting. Let's see. He has a knight, a sergeant, a man-at-arms, only 1 provision. So I'm not going to take Rudolph. He's the least interesting to me. The question is whether or not I want Andreas, who's particularly hard to bring into play, or Heinrich, who I could have actually brought in otherwise and might have been more useful. Gosh, I don't know what the answer is. See, Andreas can take his boat to here, but then he's got problems in that he would have to join other things, and that's going to be a pain in the butt. So I am going to bring the legate here, and I am going to bring Heinrich onto the board to join Knut and Abel. And that'll get me 2 leaders to face him and 2 leaders to face that. And that feels more powerful overall to me. Now that I summoned him, I believe that pulls him back. And remove the pawn to the card when finished, which means I'll have to put the card back in. Easily get to do one of them. Okay, I can move the pawn to any friendly locale. So when he arrives, when he's on the card, he can go on any bishopric. And then I could move him somewhere else. But yeah, I am going to bring this guy in here with his ships. And we'll set that up. And that's the end of the Levy phase, which means we'll be flipping over to the campaign side. And that's good enough for a while. I have to build my decks and everything. I'm hoping I haven't made too many mistakes, but if I have, I have. And that's that. Okay, so entering the command phase, as I marked here, I stacked my decks. I'm going to give you a peek into the decision making on the stacking. Right or wrong, I can't make any guarantees on it. So, if you fit them like this is going to be the first one. I went with a Knut, my plan being to sail up here and lay siege. Heinrich to sail up and provide some support. 2 more Knut actions. I want to get this before the next turn it friendly, and then I can levy and such stuff from there. As backups, I've got Yaroslav and Herman. The idea to get them together to push forward, but I probably don't want to leave Livonian territory this turn. I'm not in a terrible hurry to do anything with them. I just want to get them into play. Let me make sure yeah, I'm good. Okay. I can't bring all my provender with Heinrich. I only have 2 ships, and I have 2 horsemen, so I'm going to be leaving provender behind, which is why I'm not going here, although there's a victory point here. There's not a lot of value to going there. That doesn't become friendly. I looked up, once again, friendly territory, and it's not conquered areas. It has to be a stronghold. So taking a trade space doesn't help there. I want to get the jump here. Once I capture this, then I can maybe move to Neva or Luga, depending on situations. I don't have any movement capacity other than by ships, so I'm stuck on the Baltic there. Over on the other side, things are a little less complicated. Basically, I'm coordinating these 2. I think with these 2 leaders, I'm assuming I have to get forward here. But on the other hand, Domash could conceivably move down towards Pskov, where Gavrilo is not a marshal. Yeah, I don't have a marshal, and I won't be able to create a lieutenant at this point in the game. So that goes there. I did not bring the other marshal in, so Herman remains the marshal there. And we jump over to the campaign sequence, and let me see what I'm doing next. We're doing activations. Cool. So we start with the Teutonics for an activation. We draw Knut and Abel. And I am going to do the sail activation. That's going to use up the entire card. And I can move to a seaport that's not to unbesieged enemy lord, so I couldn't go to Nerva or to Neva. And I believe I can carry everything. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So I sail to here. Now technically I get one of these. I'm not always going to be using these, but that gets placed. I've moved into a place that I can siege, so I'll take a siege marker. I'll put that on top. And now I have to resolve the problem. Now, Knut and Abel have 7 people there, so I have to eat both my provender. Ruh-roh. That puts me in a dangerous position, actually. And that gets rid of the moved marker. And I can leave this in the discard pile. Okay, let's go to our next one. Our next one is Vladislav. Now, Vladislav could just march straight in there and attack, I think. He is sitting with enough provender that he can carry. He has 3 commands, so he could move there. So what else could I do? Is there anything exciting I can do before I move? I could grab supplies or forage, but then I can't carry my food. I don't know what Knut and Abel have. I know what their basis is. Which is 3 men-at-arms, a knight, and a sergeant. And I can look that up. There's, remember, a sheet about that if those guys are hidden, which is useful. I do know that he's put extra troops on the board because they're there. So, I'm a little scared. How far does Damash move? Damash moves 2. He can get to there. But I will not be able to coordinate an attack this turn. See, I'm trying to decide if I can afford an attack. And I know I'm outnumbered. I don't know his ship's capability. I don't know how much he's, how much provision he has there. So I don't know that he's starving if I hit him. So I'm going to hit him on a 1 and 6. It's not a good fight if I do it, but we'll get to see the battle system if I do. I choose not to. Instead, what the hell am I going to do? I think I'm going to tax. It's not an optimal thing to do, but I can't. Since I'm not going to be able to gather, and I look here and I know I've got other cards, I'm going to hold off. And taxing gives me stuff that I can carry, money, if I need to pay people off. I don't have to feed him, so we go to the next one. The next one's Heinrich. Heinrich is also going to sail, and I'm going to sail him into the same location. He has 2 boats that'll carry not his provenders. Crap. I cannot sail. Shit. Because Knut and Abel have not gone yet. I screwed this up. I misplanned. Oh, boy. I have a coin with Heinrich. All right. I don't want to waste a card. I fucked up, basically. Okay, so sail we do. So we have to drop our provender off, and I'm going to make mistakes like this all the time because this is a game about pre-planning and getting things right, and I suck at pre-planning and getting things right. The cogs only affect Knut and Abel. It would be great if I had them under Heinrich. So I'll sail here. That gets me a moved fight. Again, I probably wouldn't do that here. Sailing's all I had to do. I have to feed. Well, I fail to feed. Let's find Heinrich. Heinrich drops 1. He's got nothing with him. He drops 1 because he's starving. He has no lords on the table. So he's done. And starving him made him unhappy. But that's okay. All right. We go to Domash. Domash has piles of provender, but only 1 cart. That can't be. He's supposed to have 4 carts to begin with. I misread that. And wow, that would have sucked. Okay, so he has 2 commands, and this is the first time we're going to see commands actually being used in this way. Since I have enough provender to carry everything, I'm going to move to here. I again get that moved fought. I should just leave one out, because at least while I'm doing this. So he has enough carts to carry his provender. So these each cost 1. He has 2 commands, so he's allowed to move 2 spaces. He's up there. Now he has to feed. Now his force is small, so he drops down to 3 provender, and he's fine without any problems. We're not going to be happy, though. Oh, I had the Strelsky. Those would have helped. All right. Let's go to the next one. Another Knut and Abel. Okay. Knut and Abel are in a kind of an interesting position here. They have no food. They need food. Therefore, I'm going to do a supply action. Now, I have only 2 commands with Knut and Abel, and that's important because storm is another action. Okay, so my supply sources, well, I can't do any supply over the ways, but I am at a port, so I can do sea supply, and I'm allowed to borrow Heinrich's ships, so I have 2, 4, 5, 10 ships. Sea supply doesn't get me much. I'm allowed to create 1 provender each for up to 2 ships, none in winter. Okay, I'm seeing a problem here. So I collect my provender. Nothing bad has happened yet. That causes, like, I haven't done anything that's going to cause me to eat. If I storm, he comes in. And I don't particularly want to have to feed him again. However, I need to look at my cards. I have 1 more action. Siege uses all of your cards. That's the problem. So I am going to supply again. Now I could forage or ravage or something, but I don't want to do those because I'm hoping to get this. So I will forage again and get 2 more provender. And that is the end of the Knut Abel. And now I flip another card here, and it's another Domash, which, did I feed him? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Which does not bode well. Yeah, I got my cards all fucked up. I'll forage with 1 of my commands, I guess. I don't know. I really don't want to fight. I don't know what the fuck to do. Get a Vladivostok or a Vladislav showing. Alright, I'm going to try to break up the siege, I think. Here's the problem. He's got 2 leaders. I can't hit him. He's going to kick the shit out of me. Yep, I'm gonna forage, and I'll forage again. Can't carry all this, but we'll see about next turn. Puts us back here. And it's Knut and Abel. Now, I could do a siege action here. There are more lords than the value of the city. And that would give me a chance at winning via surrender. But winning via surrender does not sound pleasing to me. So because my chance is low. Let's see if I've got this here. If no besieged roll a die if you roll less than or equal to the number of siege markers. So I'd have a 1 in 6 chance. And then I would add a siege marker. So I am going to be storming. But in order to do that, I'm going to spend my command first to again grab 2 more supply. And now I'm going to storm the place. I need to swap batteries. Let me get back and I'll show you the setup for the storm. So both leaders get engaged in this as the besieging leaders. Knut and Abel are the lead force. If you look at the way it goes, Heinrich's often reserved somewhere. I'm not specifying this graphically. I could move him there or whatever. The garrison, because this is just a fort, it's that symbol. I find that harder. I find the number easier to find. Indicates he has 1 man-at-arms with crossbows. Okay. So, interesting. Here's that man-at-arms. He kind of blurs into there because he's black. But and now, let me go to the specifics of storm. First thing is the attacker is allowed to say, no, I don't want to fight. Now, he's only allowed to fight once because he only has 1 siege marker. The besieged side gets the garrison, uses the stronghold's walls, which are on a 1 to 3. He has siege works as his own walls, which is just a 1. All defending units melee strike before attackers do, but otherwise we use the normal combat system here. So first we go to defending archery. Defending archery, there is the 1 man-at-arms who does a half point of damage. Now, there was something about the attacker has to take armored units before other units. Okay. So I have multiple kinds of armored units. My knights are my best armored units. And they're not, well, they're better than sergeants. Sergeants are also armored. And so are men-at-arms. So I don't want to throw a man-at-arms, though, so I'm going to throw a sergeant up to defend. Well, I don't have to specify. But that half point gets absorbed by a sergeant. But first, I have my wall, which succeeds on a 1, the siege works in protecting me. That doesn't work, and now I roll for the sergeant, who defends on a 1 through 3. He defends, he does not take damage. Now I get to swing back, and I have no archers, because I don't have the ballistri with this unit. Okay, so now we go to melee, and once again, the man-at-arms, this is the errata, does 1 point of damage. I have to take this on something. I'm going to take it on a man-at-arms this time. First I roll the wall, and it defends. Okay, now coming back for melee, I have 4, 5, 6, 7. Knights are only worth 1 in a storm. They're worth 2 in battle. I have 7 hits all on this unit. Here's 5 dice. This is for the walls. Okay, that's terrible. Only 1 defended. And let's do 2 more. Because 7 hits came through. Okay, so 2 defenses were made out of the 7. That means 5 hits on this unit. It has its own defenses of 1 to 3 as a man-at-arms. And you can see this is kind of a clunky system, right? But there aren't a lot of pieces, so it's okay. 3 of them succeeded, but in defending, but that means 2 hits got through. 1 hit's enough to kill him. He's gone. The city's been taken by storm. In the first round, which was the only round I got, we get the moved fault marker. So I get a conquered marker. which gives me a victory point. And now we're tied. There's not a lot of victory points in this game. The siege marker is removed because we won. There is now a garrison there of my own men. Spoils. Okay, my spoils, and this can be really important. So you get a siege of acre type thing where, you know, you have to get in or else you'll starve to death. So spoils on a fort is a loot, a provender, and a coin. Now the loot is kind of cool because I am sitting at a friendly location now. Let me give the coin to Knut and Abel, I guess. I don't know. Who's around longer? He's got a longer service. I'm going to give him the coin. Plus he needs to expend one in the near future. He's going to get the provender because he needs to haul it around, and we'll give him the loot too. We're not really going anywhere, so it's not that big a deal. Okay. Now we proceed with the aftermath, which is 4.45. That's what they say, but that doesn't look right. Yeah, I guess it is. 4.45. Okay. Everyone moved or fought. We already did that. Events. Any events that were being used would be discarded. I don't have any. If the combat created or ended a siege, we did that. Conquest. Recovery. Okay, we go to fee paid disband. Yeah, at some point or another we were supposed to check for casualties, but there were no casualties against Knut and Abel, and the other guy was routed. So I've got to feed my troops. I've got to do it from my own money first. So there goes a food, and there goes a food. And that gets rid of this marker. Fuck. Okay, I gotta clean up my pipe. I think that's it. Okay, after cleaning that up and needing a little bit of time out, I should be over here again. We get a Vladislav move. Vladislav's got a little bit of a issue. I look at the rest of my cards. I do not have any more actions by Vladislav. I'm not gonna be able to hit with both units on that city. The city's fallen. I think my best move is to get into there. Let me check the muster rules. You can levy at any friendly locale. Okay. That's what I wanted to check, that you didn't have to be at your home. So yeah, I'm going to take a move. And of course that puts this here. And there's no interception or anything like that. The only stuff happens is in the same space. And then I have 3 commands. I think I'm going to supply. Now Vladislav has nothing to back him up in terms of supplies. So he will... I mean, forage does just as well, I guess. Right? Because he's only got one thing and he can't reach it. So yeah, I'll do forage to get 2 provender. And now I have to eat one of them because I've got this. And that gets my leaders together. I can assign one as a lieutenant next time. And it's time for Yaroslav to move. And I look, and Herman's going to be moving too. Yaroslav has one preventer. He only has 2 commands. I could move to this castle, but then I won't be set up for next time. So what I'm going to do, and this actually doesn't really help me, is I am going to move. That gets me this. I'm going to supply, and I have just one cart, and there's none of these. I could have drawn supplies from one of the commanderies, but I don't have enough transport to do so. So my supply just gets me 1 provender, which I eat for my move. We get here, and we're on Gavrilo. What is Gavrilo's plan? Well, I could schwack into Yaroslav here, which does not look like a bad idea. I have 2 command points, which will allow me to get there. I have the provender to get there. I'm coming in. So, move. All right. Now, I have my moved fight counter. There's also a battle marker somewhere. I don't know where I have it. If I had to take those guys off the map. I don't have to do that the way I have things set up. But now Yaroslav has a choice. And his choice is whether to withdraw or not. Which, again, I can't really look at this, but I know what Gavrilo has as his base force. And that is pretty close to what's there. I have an extra man at arms. So you have any cards? Yaroslav is not that great. I don't know if I want to fight or not. If I succeed in the fight, good stuff happens. Should we see a fight? See, my next card, if I retreat back to Dorpat, my next card allows me to come in with both forces to here. For whatever that's worth. Yaroslav is capable of retreating, I believe, without it being much impact. He would have to eat, I think. Let me check this stuff. In my card programming, I am going to retreat. Now that gets him a moved fought as well. I don't want to mark them all. It's a pain in the butt. Okay. And has he been stopped? That's the question. I don't think he has. Let's see. If it begins a siege or battle, it ends the card. But it did not. So I have another action. No, Gavrilo moved his 2 spaces. So he has to eat. I can't use my raid or whatever. And Yaroslav has to eat. Okay. And that puts me to Herman. Herman's the marshal. He's allowed to move both these forces. He has 1 preventer. He's got an extra cart with him. So I could gather a preventer. Doing supply or whatever. I may get more than 1. I think I do. Because, nope. I can't reach anywhere. Okay. And then, now I have 2 preventer with me. This is not going to go great. Herman and Yaroslav are going to move together. They get a moved fought between them. And you can notice, I'm using this cart, I'm borrowing Yaroslav's cart to carry my provisions. I'm allowed to do that because they're combined force. Oh no, I'm okay. I only have 6 units with Herman. It's Knut and Abel who have 7, who are the problem. I hope my feeding is right with them. I don't know. No way I can recover that. Okay, so now Gavrilo has the option to fall back. And this is kind of the problem. I don't want to fight two lords. I don't think. On a one, I'll stick. Well, I kind of know what the troops are. So I know what I'm facing. I know I'm outnumbered. I just don't know the capabilities. Yeah, I'm going to withdraw. I get a moved fought, which is going to eat my provender. Since Herman has another command. Okay, we'll he could actually go another space. I have enough provender to keep moving. So this is the question. This is my last card of the turn. I could, I'm going to grab a food. Because I was not stopped. I'm going to grab a food. That gives me 2 food. One of which, or that gets me 1 food that I can gain, right? No, I forgot, Herman's close to both of these. Actually, I had an extra food. Anyway, I'm going to grab the food. That gets me 2 food, 1 for each of these. Because the single card, actually I have 2 cards, so I can go further. But anyway, I get 2 food. I feed Yaroslav. I feed myself with one of them, and I feed Yaroslav with the other. And that gets rid of my moved fought. And now Gavrilo has to, because I had a 3rd command with Herman. Gavrilo has to feed as well, and he loses his provender. And we go to his next turn. And what is Gavrilo doing? Well, he can't even move without grabbing some food. So I am going to use my 2 commands. One of them, I'm going to ravage this location. That gets me a half a victory point. And the other one I'm going to supply. Now I have 2 carts, but I can't reach. I only have this one location. I can't reach the other location that I might possibly have had access to, but that's okay. So I get 1 provender. A fairly unviolent turn. Nobody had any field battles. We had the siege that was successful. A little raid happening. That's it. Okay. So that puts us to the end of the campaign. It's not the game end. It's not the beginning of winter or spring. Wastage. Okay. I have to go through all my people, and see who has too much crap. So this guy has 2 provender. That's a problem. He has to discard something. Now, I don't want to get rid of my cart. Provender's a lot easier to get, so I'll get rid of a provender. Heinrich. Heinrich has 2 ships, 2 coins. And a loot. Loot is the easiest thing to get rid of. I don't like to get rid of loot because it's essentially coins. I screwed up. I should have spent a coin. No, I still had 2 ships. Okay, I'll eat the loot. Knut and Abel, they have too many ships, so I have to get, and too much provender. I have to get rid of a provender. Again, I have tons of it. Yaroslav, all he has is a cart. He's fine. Let's go over here. Gavrilo has too much stuff. Raiders, they're victory points. They're easy victory points. I'll get rid of a cart. I don't feel like I need all that much movement right now. I'm kind of playing close to the edge. We'll see what happens. Because I do have 5 units. If I add something, I'd be up to 7. But I can always add a cart too. Vladislav. Vladislav has 2 of something. Yeah, I had these 2 cards. Yeah, I didn't want to get rid of the Raiders. I have a 2 Preventer. Yeah, I'd get rid of 1. And over here, he has multiples of things. He'll throw away a Preventer as well. Generally, you have a feast. Okay. And now we reset. Lieutenants get unstacked. Remove all serfs from the Russian maps. Discard campaign events. There weren't any. Arts of War. I can discard them to my deck. Now here's what's not clear. Could I discard these suckers? Or these suckers? Well, if I had wanted to get rid of any of these, I had the opportunity to do so already. So we're not getting rid of them. We wanted them. And the campaign marker moves forward into the Levy space. If the Crusade was in play and it was New Year's, we would go, and that's it. All right, and that is the first turn of the first season. I'm not going to play in this much detail anymore. Given the way the game kind of runs, it's kind of Euro-ish in a lot of ways, but I don't feel like the individual decisions are the only thing to express. There is a story going on. There is movement, you know. There are things that I can snip in and talk about. I'm just not going to go into deep detail on, you know, the die rolls and battles and stuff like that. I know some of you like it, but it spoils the game for me. I just really want to enjoy it and, you know, go forward. But that's it. All right. And so right now we're at 1 to 1.5 victory points. The extra point here and the point there. Okay. And of course the raid. And yes, these have not been clipped. They're side mounted, very nicely side mounted, no fringe or whatever. I like clipping counters. I'm just behind and I really wanted to play this sucker.